One of the most common things I hear these days is people saying, I feel lost. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know what direction I'm supposed to be going in. I don't know what career I should be pursuing. So many people in today's world, they feel rudderless, adrift at sea, bobbing around in the ocean, just basically subject to whatever swell, whatever wind comes past, not really knowing how to identify a landmark and to get some momentum in that direction. It's everywhere and it's growing. And it's a huge problem that we have to take time to talk about. It's not just one demographic, it's young people, it's middle-aged people. I even hear it from seniors who get post-career and then have to face the same question all over again. What will I do with my life? How do I spend my time? We've got to take a few moments to unpack why this is going on in our hearts and in our souls, and maybe propose a few of the ideas that could get you moving on the right track. Let's contemplate this to start with. Perhaps we are actually paralyzed in today's world by having too many options. And what I mean by that is not just career paths. People who know me well know that I'm not really an advocate for the traditional educational model that says study for 12 years and then pick a career that will last you 40 years. I don't really like that narrative much at all, to be honest. I much prefer a vision for our young people that says just make a start somewhere and figure it out as you go. However, even for those people, I think we're a bit overwhelmed with so many options in front of us, so many opportunities, that people actually get into a mode of which path should I choose? So let's spend a few moments with what is probably my least favorite word in the whole English language, the word should. If you're living your life and making choices bound up and tied in knots by this word should, what should I do for a career? What person should I marry? Where should I live? These questions cannot really help you and are probably paralyzing you. And as I often say, there's no good answer to a bad question. And those questions are bad because the truth of the matter is there are actually very, very few shoulds in our real life. There's lots of coulds. There's lots of woulds, there's lots of opportunities to do many things, but I wonder if our plethora, our huge array of options to choose from is actually doing us harm because there's too many choices. There's so many choices vocationally, there's so many choices with where to live, there's so many more choices in today's world with traveling and experiences and people's lives that we can look at right there in the palm of our hand on our smartphones. I wonder if what you need the most is a strategy for narrowing those options in to locate the ones that will really suit you so that you end up with the conclusion of having lived a happy, purposeful life. And we're going to get into both of those things in a moment. This would be some of my suggested advice for people if they're feeling a bit lost on what they're meant to be doing with their life. And this applies whether you're an 18-year-old school leaver, if you're a 40-year-old mid-career pivot person, or if you're into your senior years and thinking, well, I don't want to keep on working full-time, but I don't want to sit around at home and do nothing for the next 20 years either. This advice could help any people in those situations. I try to help people, and I've been doing this for 30 years, I try to help them understand the first thing you've got to do before you choose a path is you've got to understand you, the person. If we were to assume and believe that there is such a thing as a unique designed version of you, the fact that you actually are one of a kind, the fact that your fingerprint is unlike any other on the planet, the fact that there is no other human that lives now or who has ever lived that is exactly the same as you. You actually have been created and designed as a one only mold, and then it was broken. So if that's true, surely our assignment becomes understanding the unique wiring of how we were put together. Because if you try to choose pathways and goals based on what somebody else chooses, you're going to be choosing a path that doesn't fit who you are. So, step one should always be do the deep inner work, do the understanding work, do the curiosity work. Become the behavioral scientist focused on you to understand what is my personality, what are my gifts and abilities, where am I strong, where am I weak, what do I love, what do I not love, what things help me to get switched on and energized, which things make me feel deflated and tired. If you don't start to do that basic work, I would suggest that your likelihood of identifying the pathways that you should be on is about the same chances and the same probability as winning that Powerball that gets drawn every week. I want to help you increase your chances of picking decisions and pathways that are suited to you, and all of that work does not begin with a question that includes the word should. It begins with, who am I? How was I put together? How am I wired? Because if you can do that step one body of work, you will then qualify yourself for the step two body of work, and that is, based on understanding me, what are my passions in life, which will then lead you to your people in life. So you could even put it together like this. You could go personality, passion, people. If you will take the time to understand your unique wiring, how you've been put together, and a side note there is that often in life, most people need the help of a guide or an expert advisor to understand the process of understanding you. This is what I do all the time. This is why I run mentoring programs and communities. This is why I've written training courses. This is why I've done thousands of counseling sessions. I help people as an expert coach to understand themselves. I help them unravel their knots, understand the pieces of their jigsaw puzzle, so to speak, because once they do that work and they understand who they are, then they've got a chance of getting in touch with their unique true passions. Why waste your life copycatting somebody else's passions? I go to this thing and I do that activity and I spend my life with these people because my friend over here, that's what he or she was doing. That is a horrible, wasted opportunity of what could have been a brilliantly unique life. Understand your personality, which opens the doorway to your passions. The thing that beats in your heart, the thing that would actually get you out of bed in the morning, almost even if you weren't getting paid for it. That's what you were put on the planet to do, your passion. When you know your passion, that will naturally and automatically lead you to your people. Let me give you a simple example. In my personality, I have discovered through doing deep inner work that I'm really, really, really good at helping people unravel knots in their thinking. I don't know why I'm so good at it. I've just discovered that I am. And I know that by the proof that keeps coming back to me when I coach people. In fact, I had an epiphany many, many years ago when I was coaching someone like this. And at the end of the session, I actually said to myself out loud, once they had gone away, privately, I said to myself out loud, I get it now, I'm a coach. And I realized that that was my uniqueness, or one of them, of how I was put together. And what happened there is that led me to my passion. One of my great passions in life is helping other people get fitted to the right context that is best for them. When I see people get into the right pathway because of my help, it makes me happy on the inside. I'm passionate about it. And guess what? That passion has led me to my people. I keep on interfacing with people like you watching this episode today who are searching for answers, who are trying to discover purpose, who are trying to understand the internal machinations of who they are. Personality, passion, people. I'll give you one more P for us to finish up this episode today. If you can connect the dots by doing the deep work, getting the resources you need, engaging with an expert advisor like myself. If you can do all of that, joining the dots of personality, passion, people, you'll get to a point like I am, and it's a brilliant, wonderful experience to be able to honestly say, I am living out my purpose. This is what we're all supposed to do. This is why we were all put on the planet. This is the reason why you've still got breath in your lungs today, because the discovery of your true purpose is still waiting ahead of you. In fact, it's the whole reason why I spent time putting together an incredibly robust training program called the True Self Transformation Program. I'm passionate about helping people get on their pathway, get on their track that they were designed for. One last time before we finish up today: personality, understands you. Passion, get in touch with what gets you excited about being alive. 3, leads you to your people, the ones who need you. And then number 4, the ultimate thing in life, to honestly be able to say to yourself, I'm living right in the sweet spot of my purpose.